Aloha! Welcome to another episode of Flute Tip of the Week. I'm not in Hawaii, I'm in Nova Scotia in a really beautiful place called Dundee, which is on the island of Cape Breton. And as you can see behind me, we have the Brador Lake. And I thought, you know what, it's such a gorgeous day, and I don't normally get to do this in London, so let's have our first ever outdoor episode. This week we're going to be talking about how to prepare for music and how to prepare things from memory without actually holding your flute. So let's jump right in. When learning repertoire, make sure that you spend some time without your flute. There are 4 steps that I personally think are very important. 1 is ghost fingering. The 2nd is singing the note names. 3rd is listening and singing. And finally, there's writing out the music from memory. So the first step, ghost fingering, is one of the most important ones. We all are used to maybe doing some ghost fingering on pencils when we're just sitting there and let's say we're at a masterclass and we're listening to someone play and we're kind of playing along on the pencil. But it's really important that you get comfortable and used to fingering without having to have your hands wrapped around something. So the way I do it is I make sure that I use my thumb as though it were the flute body. And I do that with the left thumb as well. And when I need to do, let's say, a trill or just play C or C sharp, I just lift that as if it was on the same thing. It also means that if you're listening to music on the bus, you don't need to have your hands out like this. You can just have them by your sides and finger each hand separately. This is really important because what it means is that if you're about to go somewhere and you don't have a practice room to warm up, or you are really keen and don't have a lot of time to sit down with your flute, what you can do is you can sit down and read the music and play along with your ghost flute. This will give you an idea of tricky passages that you're going to need to focus, which you can circle. It'll give you an idea of which fingers might not be as strong or independent as others. And also it just gives you a general idea of how fast you might need to start in case it has some very difficult sections and you find your fingers flying and you're not actually certain if you're getting the right notes. The second step was singing the note names. This is quite different because instead of just singing the pitches or saying the note names, you have to do both of them at the same time. This means that if you're listening to the music, you know when you're singing that pitch what note that is. It'll also help you in terms of gaining really strong relative pitch if you aren't blessed or cursed with perfect pitch. So if I were practicing the first movement of the Prokofiev Sonata in D major, instead of just going ya da da ya da 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 ya da da, I'll go A D A G F E. And when you have a key signature, you can also start memorizing when you defer from it by having those as constants and only saying when you have accidentals from it. For Prokofiev, it would be A, D, A, G, F natural, E. Next we have step 3, which is listening to the music and singing along with it. It's good to do this at the same time as saying the note names because it's the exact same purpose, but it gets you used to what's going on in the background and when you're not as important as, say, the piano. Finally, there's writing out the piece without the music. The reason why this is potentially the most important step is it makes sure that not only do you know the pitches and the note names, but you know tempo markings, dynamics, articulation, and other system text like cantabile or conspirito. And it's always the details that make a musician an artist rather than someone who knows the tune and is able to spit it out. When you combine these 4 steps together, you have a physical memory of it, audio. Also, you're going to be remembering it from saying the note names, and you will have a visual memory as you're writing things out, and you're also able to look at your fingers, which flutists are never able to do because we always have our flute to the side. It's why it could be easier to memorize music when you're able to see your hands. You not only have the audio, but the visual memory which work together. These 4 steps help you combine that so that you can have a really solid memory of what piece you're working on. So again, that tip was when you're learning a new piece, try learning it without the flute. The 4 steps are ghost fingering, singing the note names, listening and singing at the same time, and writing the music out from memory. I hope you found this week's tip helpful. I always make sure, no matter where I am, as you can tell, to always have the videos available on Mondays. And just remember to subscribe, enjoy what you're doing, and just really explore new ways of practicing your music. Always flute happy, keep on ghosting. This is where I've been lucky enough to spend my summers ever since I was a baby. And also, thanks to the technology of Zoom, we can see my brother and his girlfriend sailing. Because, you know, technology is made for the stalkers.